Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. Now, here's John Truman Wolfe.
Hello, America. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. I am John Truman Wolfe, broadcasting to you live from the mountains north of Los Angeles. A gorgeous day here in sunny Southern California. We've got a great show for you today, a real expert, a pro in syndication and so forth, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Before doing so, we'll take a quick review of the day's financial stats as we do at the beginning of every show. The Dow off 808 to 28,292. The S&P 3455 off 126. Gold 1933 off $11.90. Silver down to 2671. The cryptocurrencies also hammered today. Bitcoin 10,709 off 6%. First time it's been below 11,000 in quite some time. Ethereum down to $400, 399.90, and Ripple 2601. So a wild day in the markets. Everything took a hit: the equities, the precious metals, and the cryptocurrencies. So from my point of view, I think it's a hell of a buying opportunity, to be frank with you. That said, we're going to talk business and we're going to talk real estate. We have as a guest today a premier real estate syndicator. Maybe other things other than real estate. We'll find out from Joel. Quickly to read from his website a short bit of a bio. Joel, it says, brings gravitas as a longtime venture capitalist and hedge fund manager, which he parenthetically says gobbledygook for a professional investor who lives in a Shark Tank world like what you would see on TV, a show that I watch a lot. I like that show. Companies regularly pitch ideas to Joel's company, looking for business capital, so he's learned to spot likely winners, frequently in 3 minutes or less, and sometimes in under 30 seconds. Joel, those are good eyeballs. Speaking on business and money for over 15 years, Joel has put together more than 40 companies. He's advised hundreds more and has taught thousands of people innovative ways to think about leadership, strategy, sales, and money. Joel, are you with us?
I am. How are you? Nice to talk to you.
It's terrific to have you. So we had I'm not sure if you experienced a glitch or not, but we're past that, and I'm delighted to have you on the show.
Well, thanks.
One of the things that I think I emailed you about, which I'm just looking for the wording here, but at some point I think on your email you call yourself a disruptive futurist. Do I have that late? Now, what is a disruptive futurist, Joel?
Well, I am a futurist. I look forward. I look at trends. I think about how these trends are impacting us, and I make decisions based on that. And I don't tend to look for things that are slightly innovative. I tend to look at things that are more disruptive, larger things that have larger consequences on us. And, if I was to summarize that bio in a word or two, I'm a professional investor. And professional investors are quite different from retail investors, and that might be a really interesting place for us to start.
Well, okay, good. It's a very good point. So what's the difference between a professional investor and a retail investor? I mean, I have my own perspective on that, but what do you envision as the primary distinction there?
Well, I would tell you that there are several things. 98% of people in the country are retail investors. They go to their stockbroker, they go to their real estate agent, they go to whoever they go to, and they buy from a broker, so somebody else sells to them.
Right.
That in and of itself is not the criteria, but professional investors tend to understand markets, have insights that are much superior to retail investors, and consequently, they do better. and they end up making a lot more dough, especially guys in my business, the hedge fund business, because we're able to strike fast. We tend to have pools of money that we have access to, and we can strike fast when opportunities arise. And most of us are rather opportunistic, and that's really what we're here to do.
Joel, for the benefit of the listeners, I'm sure that many of them understand hedge funds, but I noticed on the website there is a syndication symposium, and we can certainly talk about that, whether you're going to have it live or virtual. But can you tell the audience what is a syndication? What does that word mean? And what's a hedge fund?
Sure. A syndication is a pool of money, and there really isn't a legal. This is not a legal word, by the way. It's kind of just like a slang word, but it means pooling capital. So what professional deal makers do, like me, is they go into the marketplace and they get 20, 30, 50, 100 people to put money into a pot, and then somebody has to be the quarterback of that money. Somebody has to be in charge of the deal. So typically the person who raises the capital is in charge of the deal, and right. They'll have picked out a property, or they'll have some discretion to go out and pick out either a property or a business or whatever the investment is that they're going to buy. And so the quarterback or the syndicator is the person who is responsible for syndicating and pooling together all of that money. Now, a hedge fund is not all that different. It's a form of syndication, except for that it uses a strategy typically called a hedging strategy. And a hedging strategy means that you kind of protect the downside by taking compensating risks. So you have a certain amount you can make on the way up, but a certain amount you make on the way down. And these things, you hold contrary positions, and there are ways of protecting yourself. So it's kind of a safety or risk protection strategy.
There is a company, Joel, if I understand correctly, the CEO of Bullseye Capital, and I'm presuming that's a syndication fund to folks.
Bullseye Capital is the manager, which means that it's the quarterback of the fund. And so we presently have one fund, which we're actually it's aged out and it's winding down now. We'll probably start another fund, but these funds are typically not public. They're not available for just anyone. They're available, and this is true for most all funds. They're by invitation or otherwise. And so, if people are interested, they can call, they can talk about it. But for the most part, these types of things are they're not entirely easy to get into.
And I'm guessing to a very certain degree they're networked. I mean, they're people people know you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. It really does work that way. I want to work with people that I know are going to be good people. They want to work with people that they know are going to be good people, and that's you're picking me and I'm picking you, and that's how this works.
All right, folks, we're talking to Joel Block, CPA, syndicator. I'm John Truman Wolfe. We'll be back right after these messages. Do stay with us.
Question: have you ever thought about making an investment in California real estate for the high returns available through trust deeds? As a trusted professional broker, Sun Pacific Mortgage and Real Estate has been helping investors earn high-yield returns on safer investments for over 32 years. Their trust deeds earn upwards of 13%. That's right, 13%. They invest in notes starting from $100,000 throughout all of California, where real estate remains strong. If you want to know more about high-return investments through available deeds of trust, go to their website at sunpacificmortgage.com. That's sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them today at 707-523-2099. 707-523-2099. sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them at 707-523-2099.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. My dear friends, today things are so confusing. It's enough to boggle the mind. That's why it's vitally important. In fact, it's an absolute imperative that you indulge in brain food, provided by the noted Institute of Good Times and Great Yum Yums, Columbo's. Just come on down. Columbo's provides the remedies and elixirs, such as mouth-watering steaks, incredibly edible seafood, Columbo's family secret Italian specialties, and the pièce de resistance, the world's greatest meatballs. Imagine margaritas on the Columbo's patio, cerveza and other liquid refreshments, or take your pick and bring it all back home and enjoy the great indoors. Columbo's, saving the world from gloom and doom with great grub and glee. Happy, happy, happy Columbo's. Mangia bene.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597.
All right, folks, we're back. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. I'm John Truman Wolfe. We are talking to CPA and syndicator extraordinaire Joel Block. And Joel, there was on the website, I saw there was a promotion for a syndication conference. I think it was in Vegas in late October. Does it still look like that's something you can do, on the ground, or is it going to be virtual?
It's not going to be happening live. We do this twice a year. We work with guys that are mostly these are people in real estate that are rehabbing houses, buying apartment buildings, building things, whatever it is, whatever they need to raise their money for. And we help them organize their capital better. And so we show them how to professionally organize their deals, raise their capital, and that's called through the process of syndication. We canceled April because Las Vegas was closed, and we just had to make the decision to convert the October event into a virtual one. So what'll happen is instead of being over 3 days, what we're going to do is we're going to spread it over a couple of weeks so that we don't have to do too much at one time. This is going to be an extraordinary event. It's not going to be anything like a Zoom call. It's going to be there'll be breakouts, there'll be networking, there'll be deal making. I mean, we're going to do a lot of the same kinds of things that we do live, and we're going to do them in a creative and different way. So it's a powerful event, and it's we probably have produced more syndications and more funds than probably anybody else in the country, and we produce just really high quality work. So I run a fund. I've been involved in building funds for my career. I've run several different funds myself, and about 10 years ago I got asked to help other people learn how to do it, and so we've just been doing that for a while.
That's terrific. Now, will the general public, or will if I'm a builder, will I have a way to log in and attend this, or is it restricted in some way?
This is not for the general public. This is for it might be for a builder, but not for somebody who's a contractor. It might be for the contractor who wants to be a developer. So they need to raise some capital so that they can be the quarterback of their own deal. Now, then they can hire themselves to also be the contractor, by the way. But it's for people who want to aggregate some capital so that they can go do deals. It's not for the investors that want to put the money into the deals. It's for the quarterbacks who are going to then go out and do deals with the money that they receive from other people. That's who we target. They can go to the website. They can buy a ticket. and then all the information, the workbook, all the stuff that we do is this is serious material. These are not tools that are meant for children. You know what I mean?
These are yeah, I get it. These are people that have been in the business and are looking to expand what they do and have access to capital.
Yes.
Now, is all of your work, Joel, based around real estate? Do you do any kind of syndication of any other sector, or is it all real estate?
You know, I spent the first couple of years was in real estate, and then I spent about 18 years in venture capital, which included film and some other deals. But the last 8 or 10 years I've been back in real estate, and now I'm kind of leaning back toward venture. I think there's a lot of opportunity in venture coming up right now, and so I'm kind of leaning in that direction. I'm probably going to set up a venture fund of some kind here pretty quick. But that's, well, you know, I've spent a lot of time in real estate, so, you know, the real estate business is a good business.
When you say venture, what do you mean? That's a broader field, obviously.
Yeah, no, it is. So you know what that means? It means investing in younger companies. And, you know, younger companies, like, for example, I didn't invest in Uber, but there are people who invested in Uber, and then Uber became a great company, and they made a lot of money on their stock, and that's how the game works. So you invest in younger companies for the purpose of having an exit, hopefully on the stock market or some other way. And so when I talk about venture, I'm talking about investing in younger companies. And we work with a lot of corporate, we have a lot of corporate clients that call us and say, look, we really are worried about some disruptive activity that's happening. How can we protect ourselves? And one of the great ways that some of these companies can protect themselves, if they know exactly which company is the problem, then hey, let's take an interest and let's fund that company. So instead of being taken down by that company, instead, why don't we work together and acquire them?
I see. Interesting. What a wonderful game. Folks, we're talking to Joel Block, a CPA, a syndicator, pardon me, and obviously a guy that's been around the block, if I can say that, Joel. If you're a developer with some interest in raising capital, stay tuned, because we'll be back after these messages. Talk to Joel Block some more after we come back. Stay with us.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic. Market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our peach Bellini martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
In this time of global uncertainty, you need sound financial information to keep your investments, your future, as safe as possible. The Strategic Financial Intelligence Newsletter, created by John Truman Wolfe, #1 best-selling author and renowned financial consultant to governments around the world, is your most valuable asset. A monthly goldmine of the vital insight and insider information you need to stay on top. Right now, financial security is critical. That's why, for a limited time, we're dropping our price from $249 annually to just $99. That includes access to the entire Strategic Financial Intelligence archives, covering everything from precious metals, offshore banking, to cryptocurrencies, and the wildly heralded seminar on the covert agenda that has backed the U.S. dollar for at least 50 years, and more. Sign up now at strategicfinancialintelligence.com. That's strategicfinancialintelligence.com.
All right, folks, we're back. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. I am John Truman Wolfe. We're talking to Joel Block, a entrepreneur and a professional investor. Yeah, I think that's it's fair to call you an entrepreneur, Joel, isn't it?
I listen. I've come up with several companies, built, sold, raised capital for them. I'd say for sure.
I would say so too. Joel, on the site, there's a reference that you have certain expertise in investment crowdfunding. Can you talk a bit about that?
You know, in 2013, actually 2012, on the heels of the crash from 07, 8, 9, entrepreneurs just couldn't get any capital. They couldn't get any money from anywhere. Banks weren't lending. And the government, realized that they really needed to provide a mechanism for entrepreneurial companies to access capital. At the same time, interest rates were terribly low, and people with these IRA accounts were getting nothing. So they said, "Listen, tell you what, if people want to invest in entrepreneurial companies, we're going to make it a little easier to do that." So they lightened up the rules for investing in startup companies that had been in place for over 100 years, or almost 100 years. And they lighten up those rules, and that's really what investment crowdfunding is. It's a way that allows people who do what I do to advertise for investors and meet new people that way and kind of break up the club a little bit. My business is kind of a country club business, and that leaves a lot of people out. And so they really wanted entrepreneurs to have more access. I wouldn't say it's working all that great. I mean, it's going okay. But but that's kind of what the bottom line is it provides more people access to capital, and it provides capital sources more access to business.
Understood. And you kind of answered the question I was going to ask next, which was how did it work with Congress kind of loosening those rules? I mean, are there people that are raising money via crowdfunding that wouldn't be able to do so otherwise?
Well, there's a couple different kinds of crowdfunding, and the most important rule is that for almost 100 years, since 1929 when the market crashed and they came out with these new rules in 1933 and 34, if you were not an accredited investor, you could not see my deal. You couldn't hear about my deal. And if anything like that happened, it would be a mess, and you just were not allowed to. I couldn't email to a bunch of my friends. There just were a lot of restrictions on how this works. The bottom line is there was no advertising called general solicitation. They lifted that, and they said it doesn't matter who sees the deal. It doesn't matter who advertises. What matters is who invests. So they changed the focus away from the general solicitation onto let's double check who's really investing here, and they kind of tightened down those rules a little bit, and that really, it was a smart thing. It really was. This was something that was probably one of the largest agreed upon things for the Democrats and Republicans during Obama's administration, and it was really an overwhelming success. I can't tell you that in practice it's been as great as it was all cracked up to be, but there you go. Okay.
So what about? I mean, you touched on the fact that the so-called pandemic, affected your conference in the spring and is doing so now. More generally, Joel, what's been your view of how these kind of crazy times have affected the real estate market? I'm based here in Los Angeles. The real estate market here, and I confess surprisingly, because I thought it would be affected, but it's still booming here in LA. Now, I don't know, it may just be a function of the insanely low rates that Chairman Powell's putting out. But what's your view of the real estate market going forward?
Well, I run a group of fund managers, and we meet every week, and I provide a lot of advisory to these guys. And one of the things that I've been telling them is, you just wait until 6 or 12 months from now, because that's really when the issues are going to happen. I mean, it's, right now, we're not really feeling it yet. Here's the thing, is there are some people, not a lot of people, that can go for 3 or 6 months and they can be okay if they don't collect their rents or if they don't get their pay just right. But there are not very many people that can go for 12 months or 18 months. I mean, certainly companies cannot go for very long. I mean, they're running out of cash. And as that happens, prices are going to start dropping. Now, here's what's happening in the real estate markets. And what you're going to see is this is not going to happen in the suburban markets where you're describing, because I'm also in the suburban markets in Westlake Village. I'm not that far from you. So, here's kind of how this works, is companies immediately closed. All people stayed home for some months. And now some people are going back. But a lot of companies are saying, this is working out pretty good. We're not going to stay home all the time. The employees don't want to be home every day. But they're saying, gee, maybe half the time would be pretty good. So they may set up an A team and a B team. And the A team comes in on Monday, Wednesday. The B team comes in on Tuesday, Thursday. And, who knows what happens on Friday. But they have these new arrangements. So what's the impact of having less people come to the office? Well, number one, the company is going to need less space downtown. They might need half as many floors. And if they only have half as many floors and there's half as many people, then they're going to be eating half as much food at the restaurants that's nearby. So you can see that as companies start doing this, there's going to be a collapse of real estate prices in downtown areas, in office space, retail space. And by the way, there are significant other implications of all of these things. If less people drive, it's terrific for global warming, issues, all those kind of things, but bad for oil companies. It's also bad for bridge tolls or bad for police giving out tickets. They're not going to be giving out as many tickets, and they're not going to be giving out parking tickets, and they're not going to be selling in parking lots. They're not going to be doing that. So there's a lot of implication to what's happening. But the bottom line is a lot of people are moving to the suburbs, away from downtown areas, and even if they commute in, a lot of their business and their dollars are moving to the suburbs. So the suburbs are likely to be strong, and the downtowns are likely to get weaker.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back with Joel Block, a real estate syndicator who is guesting on the show today. and we're going to take a look at the real estate market going forward and in the suburbs, as Joel talks about. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. We'll be right back.
How would you like to save up to $500 on your next vacation package? Any vacation package anywhere in the world. Just call Superior Travel and mention the code RADIO and save up to $500. We'll design a custom, fantastic vacation just for you with all the bells and whistles. Not some cookie-cutter vacation, but a unique, all-included vacation customized by one of our exclusive travel experts. And our service is completely free. You pay nothing more. So why waste your time? Let us do it for you. We've got over 100 years of travel experience to help create the perfect trip for you. Call now and learn how to save up to $500 on your next custom vacation. Pick up the phone, call Superior Travel, and use the code word RADIO.
800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. That's 800-570-9631.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm John Truman Wolfe. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. We have been talking to Joel Block, a CPA, a real estate syndicator. And kind of before we cut away, Joel was talking about how the pandemic and so forth is affecting business and real estate. Something I'll mention, Joel, just as a personal thing. I lived in a little community called Toluca Lake, which is down next to Burbank, Glendale for 20 some odd years. And 3 years ago, moved up to a mountain community north of LA called Pine Mountain Club. We're 6,000 feet up. The air is pristine. The views are stunning. Real estate's about a third of what it is in LA. And in the last, I don't know exactly when it started, but let's say the last several months, people have been flooding up here from LA. Sick of the regulations and the occasional violence and whatever. And in talking to other folks in the business, real estate business, I've got a mortgage broker that's a good friend. This is, as you said before we cut away, this is happening all over the place. People are to a very certain degree moving out of the cities and into the suburbs. And I think that's going to continue. Do you?
Yeah, I think it's going to continue. I think that beside the economic issues, which are related to COVID and all the other things, I think there are some political reasons why people are going to reorganize themselves. There may be some additional financial reasons, in addition to the regular things like retirement. I just think that the society is changing a little bit, and people want to reorganize themselves.
It is changing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and certain, I think sometimes what government and other organizations forget is that people have choices. They vote with their feet, and they vote with their wallets. And if they don't like what you're doing, they're going to leave. That's voting with their feet. If they don't like what you're doing, they'll stop spending their money there, And I think that people leaving one city or another Look at New York City. I mean, imagine being the CEO of a giant company in New York City, and you've got 50 floors in some building, and you step outside, and you look up, and you're so proud of your building, and you think to yourself, what are we doing with 50 floors of the most expensive real estate in the world? And you say, we just learned in the last 6 months that we don't really need these people to be here local. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep 4 floors in Manhattan for our senior executives and senior salespeople to go and do what they need to do. And the other 46 floors, let's move to New Jersey. Well, but think about the impact of what that happens, is number one, the business prices for leasing start to drop in New York City. But, New York City gets like this 9% tax for city activities. I think New York City is going to have an extraordinary financial emergency not that long from now.
Well, and that applies to a very certain degree to California and Los Angeles. Look, I'm a native Californian. My kids are born here. My grandkids are born here. And if I didn't have an idyllic spot where we're living, I'd pack up and move to Arizona or Texas. The tax rates here, you talk about.
I'm a native too. Same story as you, and I see it the same way. It's a really nice place. There's some things about this place that are a little bit out of control, and that makes it a little bit hard. But people that don't like it, let's say companies that don't like it here, that don't like the taxation here, can leave and they can go to other places like Texas or wherever they want. Take a look at this fight that they're doing with Uber and Lyft. Listen, we don't like the way you're running things, and so we may just turn our service off here in this city, in this state. I mean, all those drivers that complain that they don't like the arrangement that they're getting are now going to get no arrangement at all because companies have choices. And people tend to forget that companies have choices. So people complain, the government makes a law, company then responds. And the government is always reactive. They're very rarely proactive. They're just reactive. And we now find ourselves in a big mess. And I'm glad I'm not an Uber driver because those people are going to be left high and dry.
Or Airbnb. Let me, Joel, before I lose you here towards the end of the hour, for folks that might be interested in contacting you with for advice, for syndication help and so forth, how do folks get in touch with you?
Probably the best thing is go to joelblock.com. That's probably the best thing. My contact information is there, and it's not a great website. We're going to redo it here pretty quick, like everybody's always redoing their website. But it's it's got your basic stuff.
Let me ask you another question that may be out of the blue for you, but if I look back maybe, 2 years and somebody's talking to me about Bitcoin, I would have snickered and blown it off. That's no longer true. Digital currency is here to stay. Beijing is testing a national digital currency in one of the provinces. Moscow is developing one. There are even 2 articles that I recently read. That wasn't the chairman, but 2 Fed board members about a digital currency in America. I think this is something that's coming without question, and I'd love to have your take on it when we come back. We're talking to Joel Block, CPA, syndicator, and entrepreneur, and we'll be back right after these messages. Stay with us.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. Call right now. 888-912-1332.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master planned destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Ka'anapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Ka'anapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit Ka'anapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com. Question: have you ever thought about making an investment in California real estate for the high returns available through trust deeds? As a trusted professional broker, Sun Pacific Mortgage and Real Estate has been helping investors earn high-yield returns on safer investments for over 32 years. Their trust deeds earn upwards of 13%. That's right, 13%. They invest in notes starting from $100,000 throughout all of California, where real estate remains strong. If you want to know more about high return investments through available deeds of trust, go to their website at sunpacificmortgage.com. That's sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them today at 707-523-2099. 707-523-2099. sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them at 707-523-2099.
I'm John Truman Wolfe. This is John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour. Hacking our way through the Wi-Fi breakups up here in the mountains north of Los Angeles. We're talking to Joel Block and just kind of wrapping things up. And I posed a question to Joel before we went away. Joel, what are your thoughts on cryptocurrencies?
Well, listen, Bitcoin is a serious thing, but Bitcoin is one of many different cryptocurrencies. The concept of cryptocurrency is absolutely real, and it's really made possible by the blockchain. And I'm not any kind of expert in these technologies, but I will tell you that the ability to execute transactions increases as we improve security and the things that make us nervous. So, the possibility of voting, hospital records, it's more than just money. Money is one kind of thing that we need to keep track of and we need to do a good job with. But there's many different things that our society is going to benefit from, and these are some of those. The issue with money is different than hospital records or other things, because we live in this fence and gate economy, and a fence and gate means that we live in a world where some group tries to put their arms around all the money in a situation, and then there's a gate that they let you in to buy from them. So Apple has a big fence around all the apps, and you got to go in their gate to buy it from them. Whether you're a developer, you got to pay to put your stuff in. If you're a consumer, you pay to take it out. Real estate brokers work the same way. That the National Association of Realtors tries to put a big fence around houses. Well, the government has a pretty big fence around money, and they're very concerned that money works in a certain way. And if money does not work in a certain way, it's very difficult for them to tax the money so that they get their cut. And this is why, I don't think that crypto in any form is really going to explode in the United States. until we figure out some way for the government to have some control over it. The government will not allow, you and me, we can trade and do what we want. We're supposed to file some tax forms, and if we barter and we do whatever, but these things are not really going to take off until the government figures out how they're going to get their bite. And the problem with the government is they run 20 years behind the 8 ball.
Good advice from Joel Block, who we've been talking to this afternoon. Delighted to have you with us, Joel. We'll have to do it again. I'm John Truman Wolfe. This is the John Truman Wolfe Financial Hour, and we will see you next week.